Hello and welcome to Working with What You Got. I'm your host, Renee Joshua Porter, and I am so glad that you decided to join us today. Remember, our program is all about you realizing that you have more than you think you have. You have more time, you have more talent, you have more resources, you have more faith, you have more food, you have more people on your side, and it is time to unknot your mind. Well, we're going to start this show like we do every week, and we are going to cook. Well, earlier this week, I got a phone call from one of my dear, did I say dear, friends, Benja K. Thomas. She said, "What are you going to cook on the show, Renee?" I said, "I don't know." She says, "Yes, you do. You're just not telling." Hello, I've known her for more than half of my life. Why would I lie? So I did not lie, Benja. What I do is I kind of wait and I let the recipes marinate and download into me. So around 2 o'clock today, I was like, hello, God, I don't know what I'm cooking. And I started thinking about it and I funk and I funk and I funk. And I remembered this week I had made a soup and I said, maybe I can do a soup. And then I thought of something. It downloaded just like that. Bam. I am going to make a soup. Now, in African cuisine, they do something called a peanut soup. I didn't have any peanuts. And I also know that peanuts can be an allergen for many people. And remember, this show is working with what you got. If you don't have peanuts, you work with what's in your house. Well, guess what's in my house? In my house, because we had a recent run to one of our favorite stores, Trader Joe's, and we had cashews and we had almonds, roasted salted cashews and raw almonds. I said, well, if my African brothers and sisters can make peanut soup, why can't I make a nut soup out of cashews and almonds? So that's what I made. And it came out the bombdiggity.com. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. All right. So we're going to start off with half a cup of roasted salted cashews. Bam. In here, a little under, like 3/4 of a cup of raw almonds. Bam. I put in a little bit of almond milk. Actually, the amount I used was half a cup of almond milk. Then what I did, I put in a whole cup right here of water. And I started thinking, okay, I have all these nuts. What else do I have? I happen to have a yellow squash. I diced up a regular yellow squash, dumped it in here, and then I blended it. We want to liquefy it really good and smooth. So we're blending it for about 2 minutes because we want it to be nice and smooth. Did you see splash up on me? Yeah. So cashews, almonds, water, yellow squash. Then what I did was, I told you my family's from Panama. Did I tell you that? Yeah, they're from Panama. And we use something called sofrito. My mother will take celery. She took onion, garlic, sweet red and green peppers, and scallion. And you grind it together and we keep it in the refrigerator. And then when we're going to season our meat or season the potatoes, it becomes our base. So what I did was some sofrito that my mom made. Remember, I'm working with what I got. I have some coconut oil. It might splash up a little bit because this pan is kind of hot. So let me just take it off. I'm pouring in, it's going to sizzle, a little bit of my coconut oil. I'm putting in a tablespoon of sofrito. And I'm telling you, I love the smell. When you smell coconut oil and sofrito together, you know you're getting ready to eat something that's delicious. So you're going to saute your sofrito with your coconut oil. If you don't have coconut oil and all you have is olive oil, that's fine too. Go ahead and let it saute. Then what I did is I poured in my mixture. Turn it up. And we're going to let it boil. While it's doing what it do, we put in a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and a little bit of sea salt. You see how simple this is? Let me use my big spoon. And we're going to let it boil up. And the more it continues to boil, the thicker it gets. Now, I'll recap what we put in. We put in almonds, we put in cashews, we put in a yellow squash, a little bit of almond milk, water, our sofrito. I told you what sofrito is. You have your celery, you have your scallion, you have your garlic, you have your onion, your sweet green and red peppers, and your coconut oil. I'm telling you, this is the bomb.com. And you're just going to let it boil. And then I started thinking about how much I needed a bread. So remember, I'm working what you got. What can I use as a crouton? Guess what I had in the house? Plantain, green plantain. So I took green plantain, tossed it with some coconut oil, a little salt, little sea salt, and a little cayenne, and put it in the toaster oven. And it made the most delicious little crouton. So while that's boiling up, I'm going to heat up my croutons because it's still a little cold. Just going to saute them in a non-stick pan just to warm them up. Why did I use a green plantain? First of all, it's dense and it holds up under the liquid of a soup. But then while this is boiling, I want to tell you some of the great nutrients in these ingredients. Okay, so the benefits of cashews. Cashews, they're high in fiber, they're high in magnesium, they're good for your heart. Almonds, they reduce heart attacks. I mean, there's so much good stuff going on. What else? I was looking up coconut oil. Coconut oil, they're labeling it now as a superfood. I remember when I was little, remember I told you my family's from Panama, Central America. I remember my mother would use coconut oil all the time. Then all of a sudden, it came out that coconut oil was the devil. It was high in saturated fat. And I remember my mother just tossing coconut oil out. Now, all of a sudden, they are discovering what people from the islands and people from the Philippines and Thailand, that coconut oil is excellent. They call it now a superfood. Imagine that. My 101-year-old grandmother already knows that. Fat loss, removes toxin from the body. This is all the good stuff is in here. The benefits of green plantain. Well, it has more fiber, more vitamin C, more vitamin A, more vitamin B6 than bananas. It has more potassium, and it is high in magnesium. All of that. Isn't that great? You see what kind of powerful soup we're making? And we have a tester today. My friend Tommy told me that he loves soup. So we're going to get Tommy to taste our soup. Let me make sure. hmm I'm liking it. I might have let it boil just a little bit more because we want to make sure that once you have the squash in there and your nuts, you don't want it to be gritty. But Tommy is going to taste it. Tommy, I left my ladle, so I'm going to do a little pouring. You know what? Let me add this one in there too, because we want to make sure that you get This is one I made earlier. I'm just going to add it in there so Tommy can get the real texture of our concoction. And he is brutally honest. So I know he's not going to pull any punches. Right, Tommy?
That's right, Renee.
All right, so let's pour this in here. Normally, I would have used a ladle. Remember, this is working what you got. I don't have the ladle. And we're going to put our croutons right on top. All right, Tommy, come on. Where's our spoon? Here we go. Tell me what you think.
I love soup. This is very good.
You like it?
Yeah, it's almost like cream of mushroom, like
The body of it?
Yeah.
The texture.
very
Would you
good.
know that that was cashews and almonds?
I love cashews. Yeah,
Cashews is a real mild nut.
it's very good. What I like, it's very different too, but it's very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Any flavor sticks out too much or too pungent? There's a little kick on the our little green plantain croutons, but it's not too much heat for you.
No, not at all. And I'm not a big spice guy, but
Okay.
this is not.
So what I did with the green plantain croutons, I diced them up, sauteed them in the coconut oil, put a little bit of cayenne and a little bit of sea salt, and put them in a toaster oven.
Boy, Renee, you did it again.
You like it?
I love it.
Good, good, good. Now go share it with
I'm
Janine.
gonna-
Let's make sure.
I'm telling you, this is some good stuff right here, and I wouldn't lie. Believe me. Delicious, really delicious.
You like it?
I
Good.
love it.
See how simple that was? Now remember, I got inspired because African cuisine, they use peanuts. This show was working on what you got. I didn't have peanuts. So we use cashews, we use almonds, we use a little almond milk, coconut oil. I told you all the essential things that are in it. You do this. You have more than you think you have. You have more food, you have more resources, you have ability. Take the knots out of your mind and just go for it. If throw it out and all over again. Hello? And we'll be right back after this. Hello. Thank you for joining in. You've tuned in to Working What You Got. I'm your host, Renee Joshua Porter. And today I have a very, 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 did I say very? Very, very special guest joining me. I have Linda Wood Hoyt. And Linda is a national bodybuilding champion. And she is, I'm going to tell her age only because it is so marvelous, 71 years old. And she started bodybuilding at the age of 40. And she is going to drop nuggets and help us work with what we got. Thank you so much, Miss Linda, for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. This is really a lovely opportunity to meet you and what you do and have a nice little tour.
Well, come on, tell us. I want to know all about you. I want to pick your brain. I want to pick your brain. You came on here for a lobotomy. You're going to leave with me having part of that brain. I need that brain. Tell me, how did you get started? What pushed you into bodybuilding? Did it just evolve? What happened?
It really just evolved.
Okay.
When I was younger, I did, back in the day, everyone took ballet and tap, and so did I. And I, did dance, rehearsals and recitals, the whole 9 yards. In high school, I ran track. I was a sprinter, 50, the 100, 200 meters, and I made it to the national level in track.
Mm-hmm.
So I was basically an athlete because I ran track. I was also in the pool swimming. I also tried cycling. I just was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And then I graduated from high school, and I used to swim on occasion. And one day my brother said, "Would you like to go to the gym?" What's a gym? I really didn't know. Okay. So I went with him to a gym, and they showed me how to pick up the weights, and that's the beginning of the story. I just fell in love with it immediately.
Really?
Immediately. Just lifting the weights, it was like heaven. And I learned a lot.
Wait, stop. Picking up the weight inspired you?
I don't know if you use the word inspired, but I loved it. I
Really?
love the idea of being strong enough to pick up the weights.
Mm.
And it was seemed like fun, and it was great exercise. And one thing led to another. I trained and I trained, and someone says, "Would you like to compete?" And I said, "I have no idea what competing is." So they says, "Well, you go to your contest and you wear a suit and you compete." So they got me this little bikini, which now looks so big compared to what they wear nowadays. It looked like a diaper in today's world. And I went to a high school, and they had a competition. I was a heavyweight, and they showed me how to pose, and I won. I said, "Oh, this is kind of cool." And even in those days, they really didn't have bodybuilding trophies. They gave me a trophy like when you graduate from high school. So they said, "Linda, you're good. Do it again." So I did. So that's what started it. And I don't think it was any master plan. You do something, you're good at it. You keep learning. You try. You try. And I rose from local competition to district competition to national competitions. And somewhere along the line, about the year 2000, I became a pro. I didn't compete as a pro because by that time I had competed long enough. I got the pro card, and I was quite happy knowing that I had risen to that position. And it's just something that you love to do.
Mm.
And my mother used to run track. My father used to run track. I have uncles who play basketball. So a lot of athletes in the family. So it was just natural.
So, what's your regimen like?
My regimen now is not like what I tell everyone to
Okay,
do.
right.
Um, I think you need to do cardio all the time.
Yes.
I mean, you hear more ads on TV about it. Your body is built to move. You have to use it. It's not only good for your muscle, losing weight or maintaining weight. It's heart healthy. And I tell people if you don't make goals to do it, it won't get done. If there's 7 days in a week and you only have 3 you can do cardio, make that your goal. The worst you could do is do 2, but at least you've done something. If you don't make a goal, you'll never get it
Is
done.
there a minimum amount of time that you think you need to do? Like, should you
Yeah.
do at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour?
The American Heart Association usually says about 30, 35 minutes for health, heart health. You can do more. Um, I went to less than a half hour. If that's all you can get, then do it. But about a half hour, 35 minutes would be good several times a week. Now, I tell people, and this is just almost like a contradiction, if all you have is 20 minutes, just be consistent and do it because consistency pays. 30 minutes here or an hour here, and then a week later you do it again doesn't make any difference. Consistency makes a lot of difference.
Okay, so how do you start? Okay, from what you're saying, it sounds like discipline and athletics are in your blood. I mean, you sound like you gravitated towards athletics and,
Yeah.
also having parents that were athletic. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
say for instance, it's not in your blood, right? You're
Yeah,
not
you got a
programmed,
problem.
all right? You got a lot of junk in the trunk. You're
Mm-hmm.
trying. Where do you start? How do you start to begin to develop healthy habits? Like I eat really well.
Mm-hmm.
The moving thing,
It's
that's where
important.
I wane.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize that I have the body type where I have to do cardio. If
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I gain weight the older you
Mm-hmm.
get. So what do you do so that it becomes part? I want it to be like I would never leave the house without brushing my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
I want exercise to be like that.
And that's something that you have to develop for yourself. One day, your mind is going to say to you, this is something you have to do. You have to create a habit. And most of the time, to create a habit, you may exchange it for something else.
Mm,
That you have the same thing with food. You want to start eating a good food, well, exchange a fried potato with a baked potato. So use your time, carve out some time. You may have to change it with something else that you can have 15 minutes, a half hour, an hour, several times a week. But it's a conscious decision that you have to commit to.
right.
If there's no commitment, and I can't force that commitment, that's why personal trainers and everyone else exists to try to coach you to keep you going. But if you have that personal commitment to do it, then you will. How do you get that personal commitment? That's in you. I could talk till I'm blue in the face.
Mhm.
Until you yourself make that commitment to yourself, it's not going to happen.
Now, did the competing help to motivate you?
Mm,
Greasing
no.
up, putting on that little
Mm-mm.
bikini, that didn't get you pumped?
No,
No?
I'm the type of a person that you could have put me in a classroom and measured my success and told me you got an A or a B, I would be happy. I don't need the audience. I don't need
Right.
anything else. It's just that I set a goal and I made the goal and I was, evaluated. That's all I need personally. A lot of people say, oh, they like the stage like this. I don't need it.
Right.
All I need to know is this is what I set out to do and I did it. I'm fine. But I guess I'm in a minority with that because most people that like all the pizzazz and all the other stuff. Personally, I don't need it.
Right.
It's just my personal accomplishments that give me satisfaction. If someone else sees it, fine, that's nice. But I really don't need it. I'm comfortable with me knowing that I did what I said I was going to do.
That's wonderful.
So
Now, during your journey, what are some of the obstacles that you had to get over for your own self? You know how we all have, we say knots on the show, we talk about unknotting our minds. And when we say knot, we mean NOT, taking the can'ts out, the don'ts, the won'ts. Are there any knots that you had to take out of your own mind in your journey?
I guess the knots were how to be in a sport that is so demanding. Bodybuilding is one of the most demanding sports there is because it's a very precise sport. A teaspoonful of salt, too much fat, not enough fat, too
Really?
much water, all that makes a difference in competition. Changing a diet, you add too many carbs, you take out too many carbs. So in a sport like that, it's really takes your life. And I had to work out a way because I was in corporate America. I used to work for large companies running call centers. So, it's 24/7, 7 days a week. I had to, my knot was how to balance both. I promised myself I'd never let the sport take over my professional career. It could easily do that. So I had to work that out. So I lived for years with about 5 hours sleep because
Wow.
working as I did, but wanting to compete in the sport, it wasn't very little, much time for sleep. You get up, you do cardio, you train, you go to work, you come home, you're training again.
How many hours a day did you have to dedicate to training?
Well, I used to train, sometimes I used to train in the morning, get up at 4 o'clock and train before going to work. That was,
Really?
you'd have to shoot me to get me to do that again. Put a gun at my head. I don't know. But that's what I did for a while.
Okay.
And I would train full training in the morning, then come home and do cardio at night. Then I flipped it. Then I go to work and then I do the cardio in the evening. Rather do the training in the evening and my cardio. Either way, it didn't leave me a lot of time to sleep. So my body's really conditioned right now to very little sleep. I need just 5 hours and I'm good to go.
Now I'm staring at you because your skin is the bomb.com.
Everyone says that.
You have real, I'm looking at you. Your skin is really good. Now, what do you do? What's your skin regimen? You know only why? Because I know a lot of times as we age, our skin can get drier. And what do you do for that?
Well, first of all, I think I got good genes. My
Okay.
mother was born in the West Indies.
All right.
So she has that skin, and her skin was like chocolate velvet.
Mm-hmm.
And all my life, as I was growing up, I said, Ma, I want to have skin like you. She says, don't worry, you'll get it. I'm 71, I don't have it. Her skin was absolutely stunning. But what I learned from her, which is something we need to do more, in my mother's day, all they had was Vaseline and cold cream.
Mm-hmm.
But my regimen for me is very simple. I get out of the shower or tub, I oil myself up immediately. I use anything like with shea butter, baby oil, anything, just to oil your body each day.
While it's damp.
Moisturize while it's damp.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I do. Facially, I have to tell myself to give myself a facial. My skin has been very oily. And even though when you age, it dries out a little bit, it hasn't dried out totally. But I, on occasion, give myself a facial. But at night, I do put a collagen cream on my face that I try to do. But I was blessed with good skin it's never been like hers. They don't make skin like they do like
Well,
that
before you
anymore.
leave, you're going to write that collagen skin cream down and spell it correctly and where I can get it so I can buy it.
Actually, most of the time I put it underneath my makeup. I didn't, because then it's on all day.
I'm sitting, you're talking, and I'm like eyeing you. I'm looking at shins, elbows, knuckles. You look great. Now, what are some of the things? We're just real here, and I'm so glad that you're here. Listen, what are some of the errors you think that women make specifically as they age? You know, I see some women, they may be 70, they may be 60, sometimes 50, and you just see age on them. What is it? I mean, even women that may not be smokers or drinkers or, you know what I mean, or heavy into anything that's dehydrating.
Well, there's a couple of things. The first one is depressing because sometimes your lifestyle shows on your face.
Gotcha.
If people are under a lot of stress or pressure, it shows. Uh, Sometimes it's heredity in skin, that some types of skin are not as tight skin, and if our skin, and I have to be ethnic here, black skin is tighter than skin of that most of Caucasians have. We have more melanin in our skin.
Okay.
People tend to do things that work against them, like sit in the sun. I don't ever sit in the sun.
Really?
If there's no place, no shade for me, no.
You don't sit in the sun?
No. Big
Yeah.
X,
See, now a
no.
lot of times we think because we have melanin, we can sit in the
No.
sun.
We talked about that today. That's a misnomer. That's not correct.
Really?
No.
So you run from the sun?
Oh, yes, I do.
Wow. So you have the shades on, the hat, all
I'll
of
come
that.
out with a hat, the shade, and the umbrella.
Really? And see, and
I
I'm
do
a
not
sun
sit.
soaker.
No.
Well, you know what? I'm out of the sun now. My last day in the sun was I just came back from
You just
Jamaica.
missed.
I will not
No.
be in the sun.
It doesn't affect us as badly, but it's not good for you, not for anyone.
But what about vitamin D? Don't we
Yeah,
need vitamin D?
Yes, you do. But that doesn't mean you have to bake in the sun.
Right.
You can walk in and out of the store your normal day. You don't have to sit in the sun. No.
Got you.
You can't find a shady space. I'm gone.
Really?
Mm-mm.
That's good to
Yeah.
know.
But as I said, there's certain things that people don't know. And it's funny, as I said, that you said that because I just had that question and we were talking about it. Most blacks think that sun doesn't bother them.
Right. It's a no-no.
It's not for anyone.
Wow. That is really okay. So what's your diet look like? What do
My
you, are
diet's
you,
boring.
is it?
Mhm.
Are you one of those people that eat the same thing all the time?
Basically.
Really? And you're okay with that?
I'm fine with it because, first of all, I believe in the 90-10 rule.
Talk to me.
The 90-10 rule means if 90% of the time I eat okay, when I want to have a deviation, the 10% doesn't make any difference.
Gotcha.
So I can eat, plain, white meat chicken, white meat fish, white meat turkey, fish, brown rice, oatmeal, the usual basic stuff. I can eat forever. One day if I want to go have carrot cake or go out to eat, I really don't care because it's a one-shot deal.
Now, this is when you stop training?
Yeah, I still eat the same.
Wow.
I don't just have to be as regimented. I can go home tonight. I may have a wrap from the store instead of making my own. Because obviously, you buy a wrap from the store, there's a lot more calories in it than make it myself.
Right.
But that's why, and I had that discussion also. You don't want to restrict yourself to the point where you feel like you're being punished.
Right.
So I tell everyone to find a way among the foods that you're eating to add more healthy foods. Remember, to change a habit, you have to substitute.
Got you.
So you just try little by little to substitute the food that you're eating. I've already done that. There's certain foods I just don't ever eat no matter what.
I agree.
But my basic diet is poultry and fish. So I eat loads of vegetables, keep my protein level up, have enough carbs, good clean carbs.
Yes.
Not sugar carbs or starchy carbs. But when I want to get down, like during the holidays, come to my house. There's nothing dietary in it. Nothing. People say, "Oh my God, Linda, we didn't even know you could cook." I said, see, that's the misnomer because people think because I stay in shape that I don't cook. I did say my mother was from the West Indies,
There
right?
you go. Yes.
So we do the cowpeas and rice with cream of coconut for Christmas. I do my own stuffed turkey. I make my own carrot cake. I make fresh bread, which people fight over and wait for me to do because it takes me 2 days to do it.
You eat your bread?
Oh, yeah, I eat it. Holidays. But what did I say about the 90-10 rule? That's my 10%.
That's your 10%.
That's it. Thanksgiving and Christmas,
Right.
that's my 10%. All bets are off. I make loads of sweet potato with the pineapple in it and marshmallows on the top.
Oh, you throw down.
Oh, yeah. I tell people, don't come to my house if you're on a diet because you will have a heart attack. But that's my treat. Now, do I gain weight with that? maybe for a day or two your weight goes up, but then if you go back to eating normally, it goes right back down.
Disappear.
But some people eat like that, then they can't let go. They keep going.
Yeah.
So I told them, I said, look, I can go home and like tonight, stuff myself. I treat myself. I had a busy week. It's over.
Now I've heard
Mm-hmm.
some people have triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are certain foods, like for instance, I do the same thing. I eat fish, I eat chicken. I like spices.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm around buffalo wings, right, I'll try to have maybe 2 wings. I can't have 2 wings, Linda. I can't. Before you know it, I've pulled the bowl to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've left you the celery. I may have a couple of the celery, but I'm getting down because on the wings. But I think it starts to cause like a eating momentum because before you know it,
You've eaten more.
you've eaten more than you want to. So would you suggest knowing what your triggers are and just avoiding it altogether? What do you think?
That's the best way to do it because just like I'll tell you, my trigger is peanut butter
Oh,
and my
okay.
trigger is nuts. If I buy a big bag of almonds, cashews, and macadamia nuts, it doesn't make it home from the store most of the time. And even though these things are good for you, it
Too
doesn't
much.
call for eating the whole bag.
Right.
Peanut butter, the same thing, super chunk. I don't need bread, just give me a spoon. So, if you know that, then you restrict yourself.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
keep it in the house all the time.
Right.
And I try not to buy that same bag all the time. Just go through the store and like, I'm not picking you up this time.
Right.
Because if you do it, you know what's going to happen.
Right.
And the one thing which is so funny is eating oatmeal in the morning. That's basically standard with me, a hot oatmeal. And it's very good to sprinkle a little walnuts on top.
Yes.
It adds something to it. I can't do that.
Mm.
I'll empty out the whole bag.
Right.
So therefore, guess what? I eat it without the walnuts. I can put cinnamon in it. Sometimes I actually put my egg in my oatmeal because I'm lazy.
Mm.
You can eat this very nice. Put the oatmeal in the microwave, pop your egg in it. You got your protein and your oatmeal at the same time.
Oh, okay.
If
Raw egg?
Yeah, because it cooks in 3 minutes.
Right. Oh, I got to hear about that. We'll be right back after this. Stay right there.
Is that okay?
Hello, and we are back. You have tuned in to Working With What You Got. I'm your host, Renee Joshua Porter, and I'm blessed to be schooled by Linda Wood Hoyt, 71-year-old bombshell.
Oh,
Bombshell, the
thank you.
bomb.com. I was admiring her skin. She's talking, and I'm just eyeing her from head to toe. She is beautiful, and
Thank
she's
you.
just sharing so much wisdom and really about some of the knots that she had to go through as far as in your mind, and just really something clicking up here that it has to be worth it, right?
It has to be to you.
It has to be worth it.
Mm-hmm. And when you say worth it, it has to be something that you value. And these are things you have to decide with yourself. No one else can tell you. That's why I say when you're ready to do something, you make up your own mind. People can give their opinions, but one day you just have to make up a decision to do things. And what I find is, and when it comes to health, people go to doctors, they talk to their friends. Until they commit to it, it doesn't happen, even though they know they're doing something that's not good for them. It takes your own self to have a conversation. Hi, self, this is not good. I've got to do something. And then that's where people make a commitment and they'll take the action. Once you realize it's something you have to do to affect a change, or it's something that you love to do and you want to continue, that's where the action comes. And then you either enjoy it or know it's a benefit for you.
Okay, I have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Partners, do you think that it's more beneficial or you have more success if you work out with somebody or you have an accountability partner?
Working out with someone is always much better. Even if you're a pro athlete, you always have a partner.
Yes.
Because number one, you have someone to spot you, someone to correct you, someone to, cheer you on, move you along. I always train better when I train with someone. I'm not afraid to go heavier or try something new. So it is better to have a partner. It's also fun to have a partner.
Okay.
And in the gym, everyone tries to have a partner or meet at the gym at the same time when you can. And that's why I think personal trainers exist, because we're your trainer, but we're your partner. We keep you motivated and going. I can get out about 3 more reps with the partner. When I'm by myself, okay, I got 12. That's enough. Good. I'm okay. With my partner, no, I'm going to push the rest of the way.
Okay, so yes to partners. What about
Mhm.
juice? What about juice? What two things I want to ask you about juice? Are you for juicing? Do you think juicing is good? You
I
know,
think juicing has a purpose. There's so many things, and I will say this: nutrition is a contradiction. For so many things that are good for you, there are negative parts to it also.
okay,
So you can say juicing. There's a lot of good things juicing does. Um, there's a lot of good things that. Let's take another thing that's good. Fruits are good,
okay,
but eating fruits and a lot of sugar at night isn't. So there's your contradiction. Time of day.
right,
There's so many differentiations with nutrition. What you eat, how much you eat, time of day. There are so many theories. It's a coffee theory now that coffee is good. Last month it wasn't good. You know, you have yogurt is good, some yogurt isn't good. Plain yogurt is fine. The one with the sugar and all the fruit already premixed in it isn't.
right.
So it's very hard sometimes for people to understand. Nutrition is a science, but there are pros and negatives sometimes for the same thing.
Gotcha.
And that's something that people have to learn as far as nutrition.
Now, what do you think about vegans or vegetarianism? Is that just a personal preference?
To me, it is. And this is, I have to say, this is terrible. I was doing some studies on how we grow our crops, how we raise the food we eat and kill. And I finally decided I'm going to have to starve to death. There's problems with the fish. The farm raised fish is no good, so that's a problem. The pesticides they put in the soil is a problem.
Right.
The chickens, how they kill is a problem.
Right.
So I finally finished reading the book. I said, you know what, I'm just going to starve to death.
Right. I can't even do
I
water.
can't even do
Water's
that.
contaminated, right?
So I tell everyone everything in moderation.
Right.
And it depends on what you need. If someone has good health and the weight is normal, they really don't have a problem. You just, eat what you want in moderation. But for someone who has to diet, then you have to make choices. And even for someone who is a normal weight, you still want to eat foods that are healthier for you.
Yes.
We had a discussion about longevity. Well, longevity means you're eating healthy, you're getting exercise, you're taking care of yourself, your mind, and your body.
Right.
So you always have to figure, where am I? What place am I? I'm a perfect size 6. Do I need to gain weight, lose weight, or just maintain myself? So there's choices. But when it comes to nutrition, it's hard to understand because there are thousands of theories.
Right. How would you with herbs? You believe in herbs? You
Oh,
like
yeah, I think
herbs?
herbs are good, yeah.
Especially you have a West Indian mother.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in bush. That bush tea. They drink that bush tea.
No, I don't do bush tea. I just do green tea. But I think herbs are very good for you, and they serve a purpose, especially for people who like seasoned food.
Yeah.
Instead of filling it with all the salt and the fillers, use herbs.
Yes.
Herb seasoning. There's a lot of stuff. But as I said, nutrition is so vast. It's so much to know. It's like the things that you cook are marvelous. You're using nuts. You're using plantains. Some people don't even know that how much you can do with them. So it's a learning process, and I think once it all gets back to a person's inner desire to learn, to really want to do it.
Yes. The want to. The want to is big.
It is.
That want to is
It's
real.
major.
It's big. Okay, so tell us, how can they get in contact with you? What are you doing now?
I do personal training and I do health coaching. Health coaching, you could be in anywhere in the world because between Skype and the internet and video, I can talk to anyone at any time. Personal training, I have my own studio in my home. It used to be a 2-car garage, but now it's a full training studio. And I train most of my clients there. But I also have clients that I go out to their homes and train. But I do a combination of personal training for normal, regular people. I do athletes also, which is a lot of fun because that keeps me busy with something that I used to love to do. But most of the time, I do it from home.
Well, you know what? I'm going to stalk you. You got a new client. You got a new client. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that you are here. I want to give you a hug. Come over
Thank
here.
you.
You look fantastic.
Thank
What
you
an
so much. No,
inspiration.
thank you.
Thank you so much. We had Linda Wood Hoyt here, and she was talking and talking and talking and really encouraging me. I don't know about you, but I'm encouraged. And I wanted to just share a story with you. You know, I end the show every week with a story. So I was thinking about my son, Julian. When Julian was probably about 7 or 8 years old, I got a call that Julian had gotten detention. Why did Julian get detention? He bit a girl's finger. Julian comes home. Julian, why are you biting this girl's finger? Mommy, I kept telling her to stop. She had her finger. She was pointing in my face. I told the teacher she wouldn't do anything. And I was frustrated and I bit her finger. Julian, don't let anybody pull you out of character. You can't go around biting people's finger. I mean, come on. And maybe she got you angry, but you have to learn to control yourself. And then I'm always coming with a scripture. A man who can't rule his spirit is like a city without walls. You got to learn to control yourself. I'm on him and on him. He listened to my rant. Time passed. About 3 days later, we were getting ready for Easter. I'd gotten up very early in the morning and I went over to the grocery store. It was about 8:30 and I'm calling my mother on the phone. Ma, should I pick up this roast? Should I pick up the turkey? Whatever, because we were going to have an Easter dinner. As I'm talking to my mother in the empty grocery store, I have my cart. A man passes by and he rams into my cart. I said, "Excuse me." You could say, "Excuse me," while I'm talking to my mother on the phone. He said, "Yeah, I could have," and kept on walking. I said, "What did you say?" He said, "Yeah, I could have said, 'Excuse me.'" And he just had his nose, he stuck it up in the air and he walked away. I said, "Ma, I'll call you back." She said, "Renee, Renee, Renee." I said, "I will call you back," because she knows that, "Ma, I will call you back." This was years ago. I hang up the phone and I'm looking at him now. Now I follow him down the aisle. All these things come to my mind. I'm an African American woman. This is a Caucasian male. I'm thinking this feels like racism. This feels like he's insulting me. This feels like a lot of different things I'm thinking, and this is what I'm feeling. I said, "What do you mean you could have said, 'Excuse me'? That's what I said." And this man is belligerent and he's looking at his things on the shelf. I got so angry. I took my cart and I rammed my cart into his cart. There was this whole display of Playtex gloves that come spilling down. They fall. And he's like, "You blinkety blink." I smiled. I said, "Have a nice day. God bless you." And I walk off. I go see the manager. I said, "There's a spill in aisle 10." And now I'm like, I'm huffing and puffing. And so now I'm looking at him. I go to the register. I'm checking my stuff out. And now I go and I sit in my car. And I'm waiting in my car because I want to give him one last look before he gets in his car. And so now I see him, see me in my car, and he walks in the opposite direction. And I'm just sitting there and I'm fuming. How dare he? I'm thinking about civil rights. I'm thinking about how far we've come. I'm thinking about he wouldn't have done this if I was a man. And my mind's going and I'm going, I'm going. And I heard a voice say to me, "And you expect Julian to control himself?" And I thought about it. I had just told Julian a couple days before, don't let anybody pull you out of character. Don't let anybody pull you down to their level. And here I was acting like an idiot. So mad because this man just flagrantly knocked my cart. And I thought about it. And I felt embarrassed to myself. Nobody else knew. And I went home and I told Julian what I did. He was like, "Way to go, Mommy. All right." No, Papa, you're missing the point of the story. Mommy was wrong. She shouldn't have done that. I let him pull me so out of character. So, what's the moral of the story? We have to get the knots out of our mind because guess what? How we eat, how we live, the choices that we make, they will spill over onto our children. We live recklessly, we eat recklessly. They're watching and they're gleaming and they're being shaped by what we do. So, the first thing we have to do when we unknot our mind is remember there's always another generation and somebody else that's observing you. Your life is not your own. The other thing is, I took it way into a whole nother arena by the fact that I'm African American, he's Caucasian. I made it what it really probably was not. That's another knot that we create. So the first thing you have to remember is free your mind and the rest will follow. Thank you so much for joining me. See you next week.
Very good.